Hey, we're backstage at TechCrunch Disrupt New York City 2013, and sitting with me are Ben and Ken Lerer from Lerer Ventures and Thrillist. Welcome backstage.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And just to get started, I want to talk about working together as a family, because you're at Lerer Ventures, and there are other people whose surname is not Lerer who work there as well. But what's that dynamic like? What's the best part of it? What's the worst part of it?
For me, it's all positive. I don't have anything negative. I think it's spectacular that we can do that.
Yeah. Well, so two things I would note. One is that part of why we actually started the fund was that we could spend more time together and work together, and so it wasn't sort of it was intentional. And so I think we expected that it would be good, and we knew beforehand that we sort of had a good dynamic working together. But I think a big reason that it works so well is that a lot of the emotion and sort of the drama that comes with business that could maybe make it stressful and could sort of put strain on the relationship doesn't necessarily exist, because this isn't the only thing that we're working on. And so when we started the fund, Dad still had HuffPo, and I'm obviously full-time running Thrillist and Jack Threads, and so I have other things in my life that I can stress out about and freak out about, and it allows me to sort of really just like take the good of the Lerer Ventures stuff and not it's not as emotionally charged as running my other business, and so I think it takes some pressure off of the relationship.
Also, don't underestimate the value of having Eric Hippo and Jordan Cooper as partners, because I think if it was just the two of us, it might not be perfect, but with four of us, it's pretty perfect.
Yeah, I actually completely agree with that. That's a great point, that we're not just in each other's face all day long. There's a bunch of other people around the table who are awesome.
And I want to talk about design, because on stage you talked about a couple of the companies that you've invested in the past, and Paperless Post is one of them, and it's great design. I think just looking at your portfolio in general, there are a lot of really beautifully designed products there. Is there any trend in design when you look at a startup or someone comes and pitches you that you think is tired and played out right now? Or what's the next thing that you're looking at when you're thinking about design and the way that products look and feel?
Well, I was just going to say, design for me is spectacularly important. You wouldn't know it how I'm dressed today, but actually...
That's Everlane.
Yes, this is an Everlane
Gorgeous.
sweater. Thank you.
Simply gorgeous.
But for me, it's crucial, because a design for an app or a website has to be, I think, utterly intuitive. That if the user has to think about what they're looking at, it doesn't work. So I care about the intuitiveness of design almost as much as anything else.
And what I would say is that I think because we're focused on New York, this community cares a lot about that too, and so I don't necessarily think that we're going out looking for really talented designers or very design-driven projects, but I think the New York ecosystem breeds that, and a lot of the businesses here sort of inevitably have that, and so I think part of it is just sort of the luck of being in New York.
Right. And last question here. One thing you said on stage that elicited a bunch of applause out there was you talked about your Stop the NRA site that's about to launch here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's not a Lerer Ventures thing, obviously. That's
right.
A family thing.
Right, right. And I want to talk, maybe you could talk a little bit about that, and about how, being so outward about your political beliefs, whether it's Stop the NRA or through Huffington Post or being a vocal Obama supporter, how does that sort of impact your investing? A lot of times people who are especially public investors, with a public face, they want to not talk about politics. They don't want to say where their feelings lie there.
I don't get that. I don't agree with that. I think that I was out in California yesterday and somebody asked me a question about how you invest. I think that you invest in people that you want to have a relationship with. I don't want to invest in somebody who I don't like, even if it's a spectacular idea. So that also goes to, if you believe in something, then support it.
Great.
Yeah. Yes, correct.
Fred Wilson and I work very closely together on a bunch of this stuff. I think he believes in that as well. There are a lot of people who do. More than not, I think.
Right. And we're hearing a lot about Fred Wilson and maybe some other tech people being future mayors of New York City. It seems like technology and the industry is getting more vocal and more into the political realm here.
Is Fred someone we're talking about now too? I heard Kevin Ryan and I've heard Jack Dorsey.
Yes.
Is Fred now
I had
also?
read an article in Crane's Business like a week ago that said it was Fred Wilson, Kevin Ryan, and Jack Dorsey were floated as ideal sort of candidates.
Well, I think Fred might be an ideal candidate, but I can tell you definitively he's not a candidate for mayor.
Not today.
Not today.
But maybe someday.
But I would vote for him.
Ken and Ben Lerer, thank you so much for coming backstage
Thank you.
and being at Disrupt.
Thank you.